Many stars from Hollywood's golden age hid dark secrets behind their bright smiles. Their strong looks and confident presence once lit up the silver screen. But one actor made a shocking confession right before he died. Victor Mature, the man who played Samson and starred in epic and noir films, spent his last days going blind. He was isolated from fans who once loved him. Yet, it wasn't just the loss of sight that haunted him. It was a heavy secret he had kept hidden for decades. What could make a Hollywood star reveal such a painful truth after so many years of silence? Maybe it was guilt from his early days in show business, or maybe it was a family tragedy he buried beneath fame. Why did his health fall apart so quickly after he finally spoke out? Before he was known as the rugged star on movie posters, Victor was born Victor John Mature in Louisville, Kentucky, on January 29, 1913. His father, a Swiss immigrant, ran a small cutlery shop. Growing up, Victor's childhood was modest, not glamorous. He learned discipline early on by helping in his father's shop, sharpening blades with care. Few could guess that this son of immigrants would become one of Hollywood's most famous leading men. His path started with a short time at Kentucky Military Institute. Later, he found his real home at the Pasadena Playhouse in California. There, his natural charm was shaped into a style that drew filmmakers' attention. But Hollywood didn't open its doors easily. Before fame, Mature worked odd jobs like selling refrigerators and plastering walls. Still, he dreamed bigger than the pay allowed. When Hollywood finally noticed him, they saw what millions of movie fans would soon love. A future star with a strong presence who didn't need words to command attention. His breakthrough came in 1940. Playing Tumac in 1 million BC, he burst onto screens with a nearly superhuman look. His muscular build and chiseled features made him stand out instantly. He seemed larger than life, dominating every scene. These qualities made him an instant hit. Throughout the 1940s, he used his rising fame to land more movies. Films like My Gal Saul, 7 Days Leave, and the noir classic I Wake Up Screaming showed his range. He was not just tough-looking, but also skilled at playing love stories and emotional scenes. Most of Victor Mature's most famous roles came from his work in biblical epics. In Cecil B. DeMille's Samson and Delilah, he played the legendary strongman with such belief that many saw him as the character himself. The film's success made him a Hollywood legend. It opened doors for him to star in other big historical movies like The Robe and Demetrius and The Gladiators. These films turned Mature into more than just a star. He became a symbol of strength and heroism that resonated with Americans after the war. What makes Mature's story even more interesting is how aware he was of his image. Unlike many stars who believed their own hype, he stayed humble about his talent. He often joked that he wasn't much of an actor and had 64 movies to prove it. His down-to-earth attitude made him popular with colleagues and fans, adding depth to his tough guy image. But what set him apart from others was his true character. At the height of his fame, when most actors clung to their success, Mature's heart was with his country. When World War II started, he did something brave. He left the bright lights and fame to join the U.S. Coast Guard. It wasn't a stunt for publicity. It was a real act of patriotism. He served with honor in the South Pacific and reached the rank of chief boatswain's mate. To his fellow soldiers, he was not just a movie star. They saw a committed Coast Guardsman who shared their risks and hardships. For Mature, being a hero wasn't just acting. It was doing what was right. His time in service showed that there was more to him than his screen image. His patriotism was rooted in his true values and actions. After the war, Mature returned to Hollywood, but things had changed. Though he kept acting, he started to look beyond just taking roles. He wanted more control and a voice in his career. By the 1950s, he began building his own path in the industry. He started Romina Productions, working with United Artists and Batjack Productions. The film company was founded by the legendary John Wayne. With this move, Mature transitioned from actor to producer. He worked on films like China Doll, where he played both in front of and behind the camera. This change was about more than just business skills. It showed Mature's desire to control his career and escape being seen only for his looks and face. He announced big plans for future films like The Incurables and Vaults of Heaven. Not all of these plans came true, but they showed his strong will to forge his own path. Westerns were also a good fit for Mature's talent. In the movie Escort West, made by United Artists, he played the classic cowboy dealing with tough moral choices in the wild frontier. His tough look and strong presence made him perfect for the role and showed his range as an actor. Another important film from this time was Timbuktu, a French adventure about the French Foreign Legion. Directed by Jacques Tour, the film put Mature in North Africa's harsh scenery. He showed he could succeed in many different genres and settings. By the late 1950s, Mature had built a close bond with producer Irwin Allen. This led to his role in The Big Circus. The film let him explore the lively world of circus acts, adding a new side to his acting. From a war hero to a cowboy to a circus act, Mature proved he could play any part. His list of movies kept growing. He starred in Zobi's Bandit Story and played Hannibal in an Italian film about the famous Carthaginian general. Working with Orson Welles on The Tartars made him a regular in big historic stories. Even with so much success, something was starting to change. When he hit age 46, Mature shocked many by quitting acting. Later, he said he found it no longer fun. He was financially secure and tired of Hollywood. He wanted to relax and not work much anymore. But even after he stepped away from films, his personal life kept changing. Behind Victor Mature's strong image was a man searching for connection and friends. His personal life was just as busy as his acting. He was married 5 times, each marriage showing a new part of his life. His first marriage was to Frances Charles. It marked his effort to balance fame with his need for happiness. Details about this relationship are rare in the public record, but it marked his first attempt to balance his image with true happiness. For years, this balance remained hard to find. After this, he married Martha Stevenson Kemp, a woman familiar with show business through her previous marriage to big band leader Hal Kemp. Martha had faced her own tragedy when Hal died in a car crash in 1940. Her experiences gave her a deeper understanding of life's fragility despite Hollywood's shiny surface. Still, their union didn't last forever. Mature's search for stability led to his third marriage, this time with Dorothy Stanford Barry. She was not a public figure, but became part of Victor's complex love story. Like his other relationships, this marriage showed his ongoing search for emotional security behind the glamour of fame. His fourth marriage to Adrienne Ervik was another attempt to find real connection amid Hollywood's fake world. Though it lasted a short time, it was another step in his persistent hunt for something genuine and lasting. It wasn't until his fifth and final marriage that Mature seemed to find what he longed for. In 1974, at age 61, he married Loretta Sabina. She stayed by his side until his death in 1999. Their marriage lasted more than 20 years. It suggests he finally found stability and companionship that eluded him before. They had one child together, a daughter named Victoria Mature. She became an opera singer, following her mother's path. Victoria's choice kept the family's creative talent alive beyond Victor's work in movies. Besides his marriages, Mature's love life included brief ties with some of Hollywood's biggest stars. He was once engaged to Rita Hayworth before she married Orson Welles. Their short relationship showed Mature's place in Hollywood's inner circle. He was also engaged to actress Anne Shirley, known for her roles in the 1930s and 1940s. These famous relationships added more depth to his personal story. They helped shape his image as a captivating leading man both on and off screen. As the years passed and Mature stepped back from the spotlight, more serious issues arose. His physical health declined, bringing a new kind of darkness. This new challenge would force him to face secrets he kept hidden for many years. As the new millennium drew near, Victor Mature, once known for his impressive strength on screen, faced a far more personal fight. Behind the privacy of his Rancho Santa Fe home, away from fans and cameras, he gradually lost his sight. The diagnosis was age-related macular degeneration, a disease that slowly destroys the center of vision. Only peripheral sight remained. For a man whose eyes had once carried his emotion and charm, this loss was especially cruel. His eyesight worsened due to undiagnosed diabetes, which sped up the decline and affected his health. As darkness crept in, Mature withdrew from the world around him. The man who once captivated audiences now moved through his home with hesitation, relying on memory as shadows grew deeper. Friends saw a change in his mood. Frustration simmered under the surface, and quiet moments revealed deep sorrow. His sense of isolation grew as his ability to see faded. Memories from his past started to seem sharper and more urgent as his vision disappeared. The forgetfulness that helped him function during his career became harder to maintain. In the quiet of his shrinking world, thoughts he had kept hidden for years began to come back, clearer and more often. The man who had once portrayed Samson now confronted his own fragility with a bravery that few could truly understand. His everyday life turned into a testimony of adaptability and strength. He learned to find his way through the world by touch, relying on a sense he had previously taken for granted as the familiar sights around him faded away. Activities he once enjoyed, like reading, transformed into daunting challenges that necessitated his dependence on others to stay connected to the latest news and cherished tales. Throughout this journey, his daughter Victoria emerged as his most devoted ally, reading to him, sharing vivid descriptions of the evolving seasons, and ensuring that even as his visual world diminished, his bond with life remained strong. Their relationship blossomed during this time. The renowned actor, now relying on his daughter in ways he had never foreseen, found echoes of his own artistic journey reflected in her path. However, despite adapting to his physical limitations, those close to him began to sense a deeper turmoil. a struggle that transcended the mere difficulties of losing his sight or facing declining health. There was an unsettling restlessness about him, a growing urgency, as if time was slipping away, not just for his vision, but for a deeper truth he felt compelled to share. As 1999 unfolded, this urgency only grew stronger. Mature began to speak more often about his past, not just highlighting his career's glorious moments, but also delving into its darker instances. Sometimes he would trail off mid-thought, hinting at a significant realization before recoiling. Those who knew him best understood he was grappling with something profound, whether or not to carry a long-buried secret to his grave, one that had lingered in the shadows of his life for decades. In the final months of that year, as his health continued to decline, Mature made a choice that would add a dramatic twist to an already eventful life. After years of silence, he decided to unveil a truth, come what may. The revelation was poised to surprise even his closest acquaintances. In the calm of his Rancho Santa Fe home, where his eyesight had nearly vanished, Victor Mature prepared to share what would become the most poignant chapter of his extraordinary journey. After spending decades maintaining a meticulously crafted public persona, he chose to lay bare a secret that had haunted him since his formative days in Hollywood. This confession emerged during an exclusive interview conducted privately, meant for a biographical project. What started as a standard reflection on his career quickly shifted into uncharted territory when, with a voice quivering from both age and emotion, Mature began to recount incidents he had never revealed before. In the dim landscape shaped by his blindness, memories from over 50 years ago suddenly came into sharp focus. Though his admission had two parts, one of which involved a love affair with a young actress who tragically ended her life, it marked a watershed moment in his life story. There were also serious concerns regarding the tragic death of his younger brother during the making of Kiss of Death. Both situations revealed a harsh truth. Victor Mature had been burdened with intense guilt throughout much of his adult life. In one account, he reminisced about a brief yet passionate romance with a young actress as he was beginning to gain fame. This relationship cut short, however, when his agent urged him to end things for the sake of his public image. Devastated by the pressures of the film world and feeling deserted, the young woman sadly took her own life not long after. Although Mature was never publicly linked to this tragedy, he carried the weight of self-blame privately for decades. In another story, during his time filming Kiss of Death, he expressed his confessions as though seeking last-minute absolution, a way to clear his conscience before moving on. Those who heard the recording noticed an unmistakable sense of relief in his voice after he opened up, as if the act of finally speaking his truth had lifted a burden he had been carrying for far too long. For a man known for portraying heroes on screen, this honesty might have demanded the greatest courage of all, the readiness to be remembered not as an invincible figure, but as a deeply flawed human being. In his final recorded words, Victor Mature captured something he hadn't managed to achieve in even his most celebrated roles: complete, unfiltered authenticity. Yet this revelation turned out to be more than just an emotional release. Tragically coinciding with his confession, Mature's health took a disturbing turn, as if the relief of unburdening his spirit had signaled to his body that it was time to let go. The weight of truth seemed to hasten his physical decline. In the days following his confession, loved ones noticed a swift deterioration in his already fragile health. The man who had once brought Samson to life with vigor now seemed to yield to the natural forces of age, sickness, and a poignant release that came from finally voicing his truth. His blindness had already cut him off from much of the world, and now other body systems began to fail him. The diabetes that contributed to his vision loss started impacting his other organs. Heart issues that had been managed for years began to worsen, and the most alarming leukemia, which had been kept secret, advanced quickly. Throughout these final days, his daughter Victoria rarely left his side, reading to him from his favorite books, describing the light patterns dancing through his windows, or simply sitting silently with her hand in his. This was a heartwarming turn of events, the mighty Samson now reliant on the loving care of his daughter, whose own artistic journey mirrored his. News of his confession spread among former colleagues and fans, leading to an outpouring of support and understanding. Many who had worked alongside him for years sent messages praising his bravery in finally sharing his struggle. Some admitted sensing a deeper pain beneath his cheerful facade, but they never imagined the extent of his hidden suffering. Yet, tragically, Mature didn't live long enough to fully receive this wave of empathy and acceptance. On August 4th, 1999, in the comfort of his home in Rancho Santa Fe, Victor Mature took his last breath. At the age of 86, the official cause of death was recorded as heart failure complicated by leukemia. However, those who witnessed his final days believed that, after finally easing his conscience, he had simply allowed himself to release his grip on life.